This is video 2 in a series on how to create project 4.2.5, the Automata. So let's get started. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build some axle guides, the axle and the crank handle. And we're all going to attach them to our box. So you can see that I have our box from the last video. We're going to go up, make sure that we're in the active, top level is active. We're going to go to create component. We're going to call this axle guide. And we'll select OK. The face we're going to start with is we'll start with this one right here, and that's where we'll put a sketch. We'll zoom in a little bit. Now, when I put a sketch on it, it's automatically going to draw this geometry for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to create. I'm going to grab a rectangle, but I want to grab the center rectangle. I'm going to come over to the center of that circle, and I want to make a rectangle 0.25 by 0.25. That's the size of my axle. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to hit finish sketch. Right? I'm going to go extrude. Now I'm going to grab this edge around here. You can see they grabbed everything but the box. I'm going to extrude that back in, and we're going to extrude it back in 0.25. I want to do another sketch right on this outside edge. I'm going to make a circle right from the center of this circle out. I'm going to make it 0.75. I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to pick this outer circle and then again, this inner area. And I'm going to extrude that out this way, another 0.25. Now I want to give this a little color. So I'm going to go to my modified pull down. I'm going to go to appearance. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and let's see. I'm going to open up my library. And I'm going to grab red, I think. I'm going to drag it on top of my part. I kind of like that. Close up my library, close this out. I'm looking pretty good so far. I'm going to go up and activate that component. So I'm activating my top level. I want to put an as-built on this. So I'm going to go back up to my as-builts. And I'm going to go as-built joint. I'm going to select that new component I just put in. I'm going to select the side of this box. And now, where do I have to put it on? So I want to put it right in the middle here. So usually what I find is if I put my cursor on this flat edge and I hold the control key down, it allows me to come and grab that center point. And that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to hit OK on that. Next, I'm going to make our axle. So I'm going to make sure I'm activated on top level. I'm going to go component. We're going to make an axle. I'm going to go to a new sketch. I'm going to put my new sketch right on the outside here. And it automatically draws that. But if I want, I can actually go back up, rectangle, 3-point rectangle, and draw it straight out. And you see that it snapped right to it. But I didn't have to do that. It was already drawn for me. So I'm going to go finish sketch, extrude. I'm going to pick that right there. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of going one side, I'm going to pick two sides. So in this direction, because I know I'm going to put a handle here, I'm going to pull it out 0.25. In the other direction that I'm going to pull it out, I need to go all the way through and then stick out a little bit farther. So I'm going to make that one go 5.5. Okay. Once I got it, I'm looking okay. I'm going to go down and hit OK. Now, again, I'm going to actually give this a little bit of an appearance. So I'm going to spin around. I'm going to go up to my modify, down to appearance. This time I don't want a paint color. I want to go down to wood. And I'm just going to maybe grab a pine color and stick a pine on top of that. I'll close up my library. I'll hit close. When I'm good, I'm going to go and activate that first part. I need to put an as-built joint again on this piece here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to as-built joint. I'm going to select my axle that I just made, my round piece, my axle guide, but I want to make sure I get back down to rigid joint. I want those locked in, right? So once I do that, just to double check everything's working. And I'm going to do this quite a bit to always double check. I'm going to come over here to where my joints are. And I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go down here to that revolute joint that I put on. I'm going to right click on that revolute joint. I'm going to say animate model. And you can see that everything is rotating real nice. So I'm good with that. All right. So now I got my axle on. I'm going to close up my joints. I'm now going to build our handle. So I'm activated on top level, double check, new component. We're going to call that handle. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to come down this side and I'm going to put a new sketch right on that flat face surface right there. Okay, and you can see that I have everything already drawn for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to draw it on the outside here and I'm going to bring it out to this edge. I want it the same diameter. I'm going to make a line and I'm going to use a construction line and I'm going to bring this line straight up and I'm going to go up 1.25. You can make the handle as long or short as you will like. I'm going to go up 1.25, get out of construction mode. I'm going to make a circle up here and I'm going to make that small 0.25. I'm going to now draw a couple lines in here. Draw another line over on the other side. What I do is I want to make these lines tangent to these two circles. I'm going to use a tangent constraint. I'm going to grab that line and that circle and make them tangent. And I'm going to grab this line and that circle and make them tangent. I'll try that one again. There we go. I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm going to do the same thing. Circle and that line, circle and that line. I'm going to go to trim or cut. I'm going to cut off what I don't need. So I don't need that little line and that little line. We'll zoom out a little bit. Line down here, line down here. I don't need the interior parts of the circle. I'm going to get rid of those. And that's the first part of my handle. So now I'm going to go finish sketch. Okay. What I needed to do actually probably first is I probably needed to project that square down here because I don't see it. So I'm going to go back to that sketch. And just to double check, I'm going to go create. And I can go project. And I can grab the edges of that square and make sure they're projected up on there. There we go. Now I can hit finish sketch. I'm going to go extrude. I'm going to grab that handle. I'm going to grab this round piece down here also. I'm going to bring that out and I want to bring that out 0.25. Okay. Got to put my little knob on up here. So I'm going to make a new sketch. Bring it right up here. I'm going to make a circle and I'm going to grab the center part of that circle, bring it out. I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to hit extrude. I'm going to grab that circle there and I'm going to pull that out probably about a ½ inch, something for me to grab onto. Looking good so far. I'm going to go to modify. We're going to go to appearance. And this time I'm going to get rid of my wood and we'll go to library. Scroll, we'll go back down to paint and I'm going to grab blue and I'm going to put a blue handle on there. Once I'm done with that, I can close everything up. I'll hit close. I'll activate my top level. And now I want to make sure that I put another as-built joint on there. So I'm going to go as-built joint. I'm going to grab this piece. And I want to grab either my axle or my round piece. Either one would work. So I'm going to actually grab the round piece because it's where I started. It's going to be a rigid joint. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And as I told you before, I'm going to go over to joints. I'm going to go Rev 4, right click, animate model, and make sure everything's working. And it is working fine. Okay. So I'm going to hit escape to stop that. I still have one axle guide to put on the other side. So here's what how I'm going to do that. I'm going to come over here to my axle guide. I'm going to activate that. And then I'm going to right click on it and select copy. I'm going to go back up and activate my top level. I'm going to right click and come down and hit paste. Okay. And there's my other one. I'm going to slide this over a little bit. I'm going to rotate this around. 180 degrees. I'm going to select OK. And now I want to put that part onto my axle over on this side. So I'm going to come over and close, zoom in on it. I'm going to go to my joints. I'm just going to pick a regular joint. I want to make sure that I have a rigid joint, which I do. I'm going to come over on this piece. I'm going to put my cursor here. I'm going to hit the control key and I'm going to grab that center point right there. I can either grab that one or another one, maybe better to grab is if I come around here and I grab this face. So we'll go back to joint. Go back to joint. Oh, let me cancel here. Back to my joint. Come down here. I'm going to control, grab the center there. I'll come over and grab the center of my piece right here. I'm going to probably have to flip this. So we're going to hit flip. It's looking good. I'll hit OK. I'm going to go back to my home position. And now actually I'm going to turn it a little bit. So hopefully I can see it turning. We'll go back to our joint. My revolute. Animate model. Zoom in. And everything is working perfectly so far. So that is it on this video, number 2 of activity 4.2.5, the Automata project.